Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we explore the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Milan Kohut, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced, the lessons learned, and the strategies fueling future growth. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by Katie Grimes, a business coach and entrepreneur focused on helping overwhelmed business owners build sustainable routines, streamline their operations, and grow without burning out. Through her coaching programs and digital resources, she shows clients how to organize their work, reclaim time, and make growth feel doable rather than chaotic. With that being said, Katie, let me officially welcome you to Founders Future.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here and sharing my story. Hopefully it'll help someone else who's listening.
It's great to have you here. We're going to jump right into the conversation. What I love to do with all of my guests is a bit of traveling back in time, right? So before you even had this company, what were you doing before? And then eventually, what was the motivation for starting the business?
Yeah, so my last job before starting the business was in commercial real estate. I was in business development, and I had created a unique role where I was going to commercial real estate brokers to be the first one in the door. I worked for a furniture company. And normally we were the bottom of the totem pole or the food chain, if you would, the furniture people. And I said, you know what? I'm going to create a different role within my industry and go and talk to the brokers first so that we can be first ones in. And what's interesting about that is since then, every single competitor has started this exact same role. So that was really cool and something I'm really proud of. And simultaneously, I had created a company called Wire Wellness for Women in Real Estate with one of my girlfriends. And it was really created out of this concept of there's so many men in commercial real estate. There's not nearly as many women connecting with one another. All of the events we're going to are, drinking late night, eat late night food. And I said, you know what? Why don't we do a workout event where we're sober? There's no drinking. We'll do smoothies instead. And I'm happy to say that has since taken off, I should say. And it's then become national, which is really cool. So, but even prior to that, I'd always had my foot in the door in wellness in some way, shape, or form, whether it was teaching Pilates or hip hop, and always running a full-time job on that as well. So I did everything from administrative, supporting C-level executives to marketing, project management, sales, you name it, and just try to get my foot in the door of small, medium, large companies, both public and private, so I could get a really good understanding of the entire corporate America, if you would.
There's a lot that happened throughout the journey. And I'm pretty sure as any other business owner, a lot of pivoting and adjusting, right? So
Absolutely.
Katie, let's talk about where this journey got you overall and what the business really looks like for you today. My goal in this part of the podcast is really bring the listeners close to, first of all, who it is exactly that you're trying to help right now, but also what are the core offerings that you have in place for your clients?
Yeah, well, something I want to touch on that you just said was a lot of pivoting. And I think
Mhm.
that if I knew then what I know now out of college, I would have given myself way more grace and way more patience to actually pivot and to not have. I've never been somebody who like just knew they wanted to be in sales or knew they wanted to be a nurse. Like I have had multiple passions, multiple interests, and realizing that that's a unique set of skills that not everybody has. A majority of us do, but not a lot of us. And we've been trained and taught to just stay in our lanes and do this one thing. And I wish that I knew then what I know now, which is that's such a unique characteristic of me and that it's okay to explore that and to give myself more grace because I think I felt really confused. I felt like everybody else had it together and knew what they were doing and meant to do on this earth. And I had all of these ideas and I didn't know what to do with any of them and never in a million years thought I was going to go into business. Fast forward to 2019, where I'm let go from my commercial real estate job after a series, unfortunately, of personal. I was a victim of a crime. I had also had quite a few deaths. And so my life was essentially just falling apart. And I took a leave of absence, came back from that, and decided to start the company after getting let go. And when I dug into what is the most meaningful thing for me, which has now translated into who I help now, it's somebody who has a lot of ideas, a lot of passions, and is trying to make sense of how this could be a business. And so the first thing I do is, 98% of my audience is women. I would say that there are men I've coached as well. But predominantly, what I do is I help somebody not only just start a business, meaning even if you already have a business, a lot of people don't realize that they are set up incorrectly, that they're actually set up illegally and they don't realize it. So that's like the first thing I do is you have this great business or this business idea that you think you're kind of all over the place. Let's figure out exactly how to set the business up correctly so that if you ever did get audited in the US, we have the IRS. Let's make sure that you're looking good. And then the second thing I do is I look at what's going on in your personal life and how is that affecting you and how you're showing up in business and vice versa. Are you people pleasing? Are you a perfectionist? Are you somebody who sets a boundary but doesn't keep it? Are you somebody who feels bad for rambling when in fact you're just telling people the context of a story? And so I've noticed that the people that I work with are commonly doing those qualities and characteristics. And inadvertently, they have the weight of the world on their shoulders, both at home and in business, putting a lot of pressure on themselves to make money and a lot of pressure on themselves to be successful, but ultimately fear either that success or fear of failure. And so what I do is I help alleviate and take that weighted blanket off their shoulders and say, let's look at getting you to sleep better. Let's look at how can we get you more time back and take a lot of this shit off your plate, both emotionally and physically? Like, can we in fact delegate to your spouse or can we hire a landscaper? Like, are there things that we can do that you have the financial means to do? And then I look at the business as a whole and say, where are we? Where where are we going with this business? What's your vision for it? But where do you need help? Like where can we actually grow the team, teach you how to hire, teach you how to pay yourself, make sure you're charging what you're worth and not even what you're worth, but more essentially that you're charging correctly for your time and really going in and setting the business up to a place where it's super organized that when you do take a day off, you actually can rest and you are not feeling guilty for resting. So essentially what I do is I walk people through that entire program in a couple of different ways. One is privately, one-on-one, where I'm essentially, a phone call away or a text message away dealing with the day to day of the business. And then there's another aspect where people can go through a course that I offer where they can teach literally it's step by step what I teach my private clients. The only difference is there is no accountability. You are keeping yourself accountable by going through the videos. And last but not least, I also have a group that meets once a month where we get other entrepreneurs together. We're talking about how to confidently run your business. How do we get you more visibility? How do we get you more clients? And a lot of people become clients of one another, which is really powerful.
Beautiful. Thank you for walking us through that. There's a lot happening within the business, and I see there's like a lot of variation in terms of how people can actually end up working with you. Now,
Mhm.
when it comes to the one-on-one coaching, obviously this is the offer where you can truly be very present for your clients, really walk them through every step of the journey. What would you say is the average duration of a client really working with you so that you can basically set them up for success?
I would say it's a minimum of 6 months, and I love getting my hands on people for a year. And I always say to them, I'm the type of coach that I want to teach you all the skills that I absolutely can so that you can flourish and you don't need me, but you want me in your life. So I have a client, she's
Mhm.
been with me for 3 years, and she said, Katie, you know how often I'm sleeping with my husband. I mean, I'm not going to any other coach because you really intimately understand my life and how what's going on in my family is affecting business and vice versa. But I always say to people, let's start with 6 months, but plan on being here a year because who you are in a year is going to be dramatically different. And I think we're so used to this Amazon Prime living where everything is instant and we instantly are getting gratification. But to rewire all that you have learned about your self confidence, whether that is a toxic work relationship, whether that is a toxic family member, whether that's an
Mhm.
unhealthy dynamic in some other aspect of your life. Those are the thoughts that are seeping into your day to day in the business. And we need time to be able to slowly unpack that so that we are not causing you more burnout. Essentially, I don't want your nervous system to go into fight or flight or freeze or fawn or even a trauma response like migraines or panic attacks. So we need the time to be able to actually work out what's going on in the business and what's going on in your personal life and what's going up here in your head so that we can start to really infiltrate positive thoughts and thoughts of gratitude that will ultimately impact everybody you touch.
Yeah, you've really just triggered me with the fight or flight. I feel like this is
Yeah,
99% of the business owners and generally speaking, high
1000%.
performers in today's day and age.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
This
yeah,
this
Katie,
was
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that that bit of information that you just said, the 99% of business owners are in flight or flight. That was the missing information for me about 2 years ago. Now, I got really sick, really, really sick from all the symptoms I just shared with you. And that's why I pivoted my business to be like, let's look at the whole kit and caboodle. I want to look at your hormones. I want you to go to get tested so that we can make sure that you're operating from a full cup. I want to know who your safe and trusted people are so that if I'm not available, you've got support. It's like really looking at how can I teach people what the nervous system is, how it's literally the most powerful tool you'll ever have in your life and or your business. And if you don't have a calm and regulated nervous system, so that you are not impacted by the day-to-day shit that triggers you, whether it's world news or gosh, the US administration, I mean your family member, like any of that stuff, it will allow you kind of like similar to working out. When we strengthen your nervous system, we actually it's very much like strengthening a muscle and you're able to lift heavier, but it's not going to hurt as much. Um, and so I really think that that's the missing piece is people don't understand what the symptoms of being in fight or flight are, and nor do they are even paying attention because they're confusing ambition with fear. The fear
Mhm.
and the pressure that we're putting on ourselves to make more money. Well, my boyfriend said this to me the other day. Well, what's the money going to do for you? What do you actually want as a vision for your life? And what is that money going to do for you? And what quality of life do you want to have on your way to go get it?
Yeah. I think it's safe to say that you're not keeping anything just on a surface level. So it's
Yeah,
cool to see
fair.
that you're diving deep into everything, but beautiful. Now, Katie, let me ask you this. I know for a fact there's a ton of people in your industry who are basically leaning towards the group coaching model solely from the perspective of having something more scalable, right? When it comes to
Hmm.
your one-on-one time, there's only so many people that you can serve on a daily
Hmm.
basis. So is this idea that you had in mind in terms of launching something like this, or what would you say is the main motivation for running a group model?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. It's a matter of, from a time perspective, being able to help more people in a shorter amount of time. But I think more importantly than that, it's actually the relationships that they are cultivating within. I mean, these women are becoming best friends. They are going on vacations with each other. They are calling each other as resources to say, "Oh, now you're my business lawyer," right? Because I've got my business lawyer in the group. Um, it's really powerful, and I think it's just a matter of, for me, once a month feels really doable and also empowers them to go live their life and do the shit that they said they were going to do and come back in a month and be able to hold each other accountable in between and ask each other questions. And there's different types of masterminds and groups, right? There's some that have access to
Yeah.
me personally, and there's others that, there's no access to me necessarily, but they have access to each other regardless, which is really
Yeah.
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. Now talking about clients though, I also want to talk about the backend side of the business.
Yeah.
Obviously, in order for you to succeed, having a good client acquisition system in place is the key, right? So
Oh,
what
yeah.
is it that you currently do on the front of marketing and maybe specifically generating leads for yourself to make all of this even happen in the first place?
So my brain started to go towards the software systems and sort of the like strategies in which we set people up from inquiry to onboarding. So what happened was I missed your question. So would you repeat what you just said?
Absolutely. Not a problem. So what I wanted to talk about now is basically what is happening on the back-end side of the business that allows you to grow the business, right? So what
Yep.
are what are the strategies on the front of marketing and generating leads to make all of this happen?
Yeah, I think it's a number of things. I think where we're at right now versus where we're going, right? So right now everything is organic. It's me attending networking groups because I think there's something really powerful. Like when I get into a room, whether I'm doing speaking or podcasts, ever like always get somebody to sign up. And I'm not even selling. I'm just talking to them and being my genuine self. So I've been networking locally where I live, as well as internationally, and then also doing things like coming on podcasts or posting on social media, doing the newsletter like we do. I have my own podcast. And so we use those as marketing channels. And then we look at the stats to see what's working. And what's working right now really well is when I am face to face in a room speaking live on stage. That is the one that like converts the most amount of clients. And so that's really where we're focusing our time and attention right now. But I think eventually too, we'll go back to like paid ads and things of that nature. But just for where the business is going right now, keeping it very small is exactly where I want to be. I always thought that I wanted to be the kind of business owner that was famous, or the person I should say that's famous and who has so many clients and all this. And I think something gets lost when you're in a group of 100 people versus when you're in a group of 20 or you're in a group of 10.
Hmm. So this
I
is
think there's
intentionally not growing too
it,
fast.
it's very intentional, because when I grew too fast at the beginning, that is when I wasn't taking care of myself. And so I said to myself, okay, I'm going to learn everything I need to learn about this whole nervous system thing and creating more grounded energy and bringing in more ideal clients that are really just so easy to work with. And it's really intentional to keep it small right now and then eventually get to a place where I feel like I can take on more. And I am at that place right now. I'm at that place where I'm reevaluating the business and saying, wow, I feel really physically strong, spiritually, emotionally, energetic. I feel very strong. And so the team and I are talking. It's like, okay, so what does that look like then? Like, what are we slowly going to add as opposed to what, this person who I'm raising my hand over here, who has a ton of creative ideas. I'd love to populate all the ideas. And instead, I'm like, let's just
Mhm.
start with one. And so I think something that we might work towards is actually putting a 5-week group together where we're teaching people how to have better time management, because that is what I'm hearing people say the most. It's very true for people with ADHD. They have a struggle with this, but I think people who don't also have a struggle with this. So yeah, it's all
Beautiful.
very intentional.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about the future of the company, though. Obviously, what I'm hearing is a lot of ambition. So that's lovely to see. But when you think about the short-term goals, maybe the next 6 to 12 months, what would you say are those biggest goals, targets, revenue, milestones that you have set for yourself?
Yeah. So I think one of the revenue goals that we have is growing the business to 1 million per year without losing the intentionality behind that customer service, where I am literally like in the business with them. I love private coaching. I love group coaching. To be able to actually connect with people, that feels really powerful. So we're looking to that and looking at like, what does that even mean for me and my energy? I'm not in a place where I want to bring on additional coaches. That is just not something I'm willing to do at this point in the business. I've done it in the past, and there's been value added in that in the moment. But for the longer term vision, I really want to travel personally. And so, what I'm focused on is making enough money to be able to do that. And then also start to move the podcast towards more of what we see kind of on social media with like, Mel Robbins and Alex from Call Her Daddy, is more of that like in studio guest speaking. So I think that will be kind of a future in the next probably closer to 12 months. But I'm really looking for the freedom to take some time to just travel and enjoy more time with the flexible schedule that I've created for myself, especially because those first 3 to 4 years, I was heads down and just really focused on the business. And now it's a matter of like, let's just kind of chill a little bit. So it's ambitious, but
I
it's
love
it's a
it.
slower pace. Hmm.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Katie, this has been a great conversation. So I want to say thank you for taking the time today, sharing the story with me and the listeners. If anybody from the audience wanted to reach out, get in touch, maybe even work with you, what is the best
Yep.
way to go about it?
The best way to reach out is our email address. So it's support@katiegrimes.com. So that's SUPPORT at KATIEGRIMES. That's the best way. I'm on Instagram. So if you literally want to DM me and be like, I was listening to Mom's podcast, I really resonated with this. even if you don't want to coach them, maybe you just want to say that something really hit home. There, you know this because you have the podcast. There's nothing better than that. It's like so
Yeah.
validating that we're living our purpose. So I would say those are the two best ways. And my Instagram account is kg.katiegrimes.
Beautiful. Thank you again for your time. Great conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. To our listeners, if today's conversation inspired you as well, make sure to subscribe to Founders Future on your favorite platform. And also, if you're a business owner, more specifically a consultant or coach, or you have an agency and you're trying to scale the business and really enhance both your sales and marketing efforts, also visit closers.io, get in touch with our team, and discover how exactly we scaled our company from 0 to over 30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on crushing it, and I'll see you on the next one.